I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I am Tony Russo, no relation. All sorts of fun tonight. We skipped a week. As you may or may not know, we switched to morning times, and I forgot. And it was also after the holiday weekend, so we had, I was still in holiday weekend mode. And like Tuesday, I said to myself, "Oh shit, we didn't do the Todcast," and Todd confirmed that. And 2 days later, I emailed Todd and asked him if that was indeed true, and he confirmed that it was. So we're back on. We're gonna still shoot for Monday mornings, kind of, for now.
No, Tuesday mornings.
Tuesday mornings, kind of. Oh, so I didn't miss. I was afraid I missed yesterday because
No.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, I prefer after long weekends and Sunday fun days, I prefer Tuesday.
Oh, that's cool because Tuesday's one day that for now I don't book anything else on because I have I put the paper out on Tuesday, so I don't ever have morning appointments on Tuesday. So that's convenient.
Yeah, well, and it's funny too. So last Tuesday, like you said, after the holiday weekend, I was ready, I was available, and I could just kind of I'm a sit back and wait kind of guy.
Right.
Like let the
You're sitting there like with your fingers crossed, like, please don't sign on. Please don't sign on. If you don't sign on, then I don't have to sign on.
Yeah, it was a little bit of that, but yeah, we'll get back to it. I think it's this is more fun. It's the slow creep to our 200th episode, which is going to be obviously a very big deal.
Yes, obviously a very big deal. That's in March.
Yeah. Exactly. So, well, let's get into it. What did you do for the 4th, that holiday weekend?
I went to New Jersey and I drank myself blind. I had so much to eat and so much to drink, and I watched all the Daredevils. My best friend is moving. I mean, and this is something I know you usually say when you're 14 or whatever, but he got a job in Atlanta. So he's 44 years old, and he's packing up all his stuff and moving to Atlanta. And one of the things that we had discussed was that we were going to watch Daredevil together. And so we took this opportunity. I went up to Jersey and we binge watched most of Daredevil. And then I watched the rest of it when I got back home. Have you seen it, Daredevil?
I have seen it, and Daredevil is a beloved character of mine from being a kid. And it's funny because when I was a kid, I always loved it, but I had a hard time with the sort of noir crime drama aspect of it. It wasn't quite as flashy as Spider-Man, but I still loved it. And now that I'm older, I thought the Netflix series was fantastic, and I think it's a great platform to be telling superhero stories in real world settings because it's episodic and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, I have only two. I liked it as well. I had only 2 criticisms, and one is I think kind of he should have taken a sock off his head by episode 6. The sock on the head got really tedious after a while, and I know this is about him becoming Daredevil and all that, but it was just distracting. And like after a while, you are just distracted. You're like he's wearing a sock on his head. And the other thing was that Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vince D'Onofrio.
He owned that movie.
Yeah. You think so? You're a fan. You're a fan of his portrayal of.
I thought he was fantastic, didn't you? I mean, like, who knew? Like, you could root kind of for the Kingpin. Like, he was. There was never any question that he was a bad dude, but it was interesting that how comfortable he was with "I'm a bad dude." You know what I mean? And he played it so soft.
The thing, the character, drawn in the books is, larger than life. So, apart from just the sheer size of the comic book version of Kingpin, that was just a minor fanboy thing to get over. And if you can't get over it, you're an idiot. But you're
not going to find many 6'8", 400-pound actors, who've got that kind of acting subtlety,
As I had a fan or a friend say, dare not mention the movie version, but Michael Clark Duncan was probably the appropriate size in real life for the Kingpin, and I think played the role well. But yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio. One of the cool things that I really enjoyed about it was the fact that not only did you kind of feel for him, the Kingpin a little bit, but you believe that he thought he was doing the right thing.
Right. Yeah. He was really a mean kind of guy.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I liked his fighting scene. He didn't do karate. He did Kingpin fighting, which is I'm just going to use my size and my access to anger to punch you until your head literally comes off.
Yeah.
And and I thought that was the fact that he fought with zero subtlety. I got a huge kick out of.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. I love it. That's a good 4th of July thing, and they're already talking about episode or season 2. So
I'm very excited. Do you know the Punisher's in season 2 and all that, right?
Ooh, I didn't know that. I know Elektra is making an appearance, but I didn't know the Punisher.
In season 2, the Punisher is going to be the good/bad guy. He's going to be and he's played by the guy who played Shane in The Walking Dead. So that'll be a lot of fun to see. I think it'll be I think this will be the Punisher's origin story, which is fun. I've always like you, Daredevil and the Punisher were 2 of my favorites when I was a kid. So it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the one who pretends that I ever read an Iron Man. I mean, I maybe read half an Iron Man before I got bored with it, but I wasn't into Iron Man.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
Yep.
Beyond that, and on the 4th of July, if anything good came from Hurricane Sandy, it's that enough trees got knocked down that I could see the fireworks without leaving my mother's backyard for the first time since the late 70s. So
there's that. That's always, you're always finding the silver lining.
Absolutely. It was a weird bonus. But so, yeah, we just sat in the backyard and really we did a lot of drinking, a lot of hanging out. And that's what the holiday is for. And what did you get up to? What was your 4th like?
The 4th itself was very mellow. Natalie had the opportunity to go up to the 20th anniversary of the Foo Fighters, and a ticket became available. She did that, and I fell asleep on the couch at 9 o'clock. Had every intention of just hanging around Berlin, but yeah, it was quite wonderful. But I think I don't know. We've never been. Going into Ocean City, I know, is one of your least favorite activities. It is one of my least favorite activities on 4th of July weekend because it's just asinine. I mean, if we did it once or twice when the kids were a little bit younger. Fireworks are a little bit more prevalent throughout the year, so I don't see the point in basically celebrating our taking a worthwhile holiday and spending it, cursing our fellow Americans because
they drive like morons.
Because they drive like morons. Although, one thing that is interesting, I will say this, even in the current light of all of the asinine Donald Trump comments and that sort of thing, the Latino community downtown Ocean City are the most patriotic people. And they were show. I did have to go in the town at like 8 o'clock in the morning to pick up my daughter who had been babysitting, and they are rolling out the coolers. They're getting ready to camp out for 8 hours, 12 hours, whatever And so that's
who doesn't like beer and fireworks and barbecuing and like a day set aside to just go over the top. Leisurely, like it's not like Christmas is like you do the giving thing, and Thanksgiving you do the eating thing. 4th of July is almost like competitive relaxing, and I mean, who can't get behind that? How much sun can you get? How much beer can you get? How much music can you listen to? How much volleyball can you play or whatever? It's an easy sell.
I like it. And actually, that's a good segue into one of my favorite holidays, which has quickly become one of my favorite holidays, which it follows 4th of July, and that's the Starbird's running of the bull. Talk about excess and talk about.
You did that last year. Someone dresses up like a bull and chases people around.
Yeah. So it's based after the the actual running of the bull in Pamplona, and guys started it 19 years ago. Just, you know, a group of guys. It was essentially a flash mob before there were flash mobs, and these guys were drinking one Sunday at the Starboard, had a bull costume, wore, you know, red and white, and then just went tearing down the beach. So now what it has evolved into is thousands of people cramming the parking lot, all day concert. You know, how much music can you listen to? How much beer can you drink? How much champagne can you spray all over you and your friends? At 2 o'clock, the Delaware Police Department shuts down Route 1 for 2,000 drunk people to cross the street. They pull everybody out of the ocean so that everybody can run down the beach, being chased by a bull, and it's pretty amazing. And it's evolved in the 19 years to be such a big event, and now it's got these little ancillary things. The guys who started it are parents now. There's a kids running of the bull in the morning. You know, there's a charitable aspect where they donate T-shirts to the Rehoboth and Dewey volunteer fire department, and they sell them to raise money for, you know, the station. So yeah, it's an all-day thing, and it's, I mean, best characterized. You talk to anybody up in Dewey, and it's like a unique holiday just to the Dewey Beach area.
That's very cool, and I'm going to more and more of these like events. They have all the sorts of things in Delaware now. I've been working in Delaware for the last 6 months, and they have things that I either didn't really know about or didn't really care about. I covered the Nanticoke River Festival, and it wasn't agonizing. They did have a pageant, and it was like a bathing suit pageant for 4-year-olds, and that was the bridge too far for me, and then I had to leave.
Yeah.
But it was too bad because they have a boat parade, which, you know, Ocean Pines had a boat parade that was always kind of fun to cover. But this one they do at night, and they do it with lights and stuff like that. And maybe next year I'll take a look at it. But this year I didn't get to. What I did get to do, though, was start a little bit of a beef with the Salisbury Chamber of Commerce that I wanted to talk about for a little bit. And you actually know a lot about this, more about this than you think.
Okay.
You'll remember that there used to be a Salisbury Festival.
Yes.
And you remember that about this time last May of 2014, they canceled it unceremoniously and said, we'll do something next year.
Yeah.
They announced what they would be doing next year. They're doing this festival that they're calling Torches for Community, or Community for Torches. Torches
celebrating the community.
Torches celebrating the community. And on the face of it, it sounds like a good idea, and it's not a bad idea. It's just a stupid idea. And so Torches celebrating community, they're actually going to sell like sponsorships where you can buy like a buoy that they set on fire in the river, you know, and it'll be like a night thing, and they'll have fire all along the river. And, you know, they have arts and crafts. It'll be the Salisbury Festival. It's the same thing, except it'll be at night. And as the kicker, it will be on October 2nd through 4th. Now, that might not ring a bell with you now, but it will come the fall, because October 2nd and 4th is Seagull Century Weekend.
Oh, no.
The one weekend, and I actually tweeted this right from the event, the one weekend that no one ever goes to Salisbury, they've decided to throw a party. And so that's essentially what I wrote. I wrote a story. We ran it on the front page, and it said it was cynical because they're like, we're going to replace the Salisbury Festival. The Salisbury Festival was a tourism event. It brought tourists and tourism dollars into town. It wasn't bringing as much as they wanted, so they canceled it. And the idea was they were going to do something else that was going to bring tourist dollars into town. And what they did was they picked the one weekend where you could never tell that they failed.
Yeah.
Because there are no hotel rooms for a 200-mile radius.
Right.
There are no restaurants to you. I mean, the restaurant wait is 45 minutes at the least, but in a good way, in like a very Ocean City kind of way, where it's so busy Everybody's having fun. Nobody complains about, oh, I had to wait, but everybody does well. I don't see how this benefits anyone except the college. And so that's what I wrote in the story. And I used some strong language, ham-fisted, which is one of my favorites. And I think the opening line of the story, which you can find at russoclips.blogspot.com, which is where I keep my clips now that my newspaper isn't on the internet. The opening sentence was, last year the Salisbury Chamber of Commerce announced it would be replacing the Salisbury Festival, and this week it announced that it, wasn't. And they got mad. So they called the publisher and started screaming, and they pulled their advertising. And they don't really advertise, so I don't think we care a lot. I know I don't care a lot, but it didn't, like, they pulled 1 month's worth of advertising, but they only advertise 2 months a year. So percentage-wise, they pulled 50% of their advertising.
50% of their advertising.
But it wasn't. And then I was out on a freelance assignment, and I had to work with the president of the chamber, who's a public relations person, and she could barely look at me. And there's nothing I enjoy more than being comfortable around someone who hates me, because it's just like, it's really as powerful as you can be. I mean, like, not in a I'm a master of the world powerful trip. It's just like, no, I'm completely comfortable with myself. I'm sorry that you're not comfortable with yourself or with me. And the thing is, the other nice part was that she's a public relations person. Jenny Pastusak, you know her?
No, I don't think I do.
She's a Salisbury PR person. She had set up this big meeting where it was me and Brad Gillis and Keith Fisher and Mark Engberg, who runs this financial services company. Anyway, but she like, when she found out it was me, she was late. So she showed up 20 minutes late, and we were pretty much done with the meeting. So she only had to sit at the table with me for a couple seconds. And then, afterwards they were talking about, so what do you really do? And I'm like, well, I write for the Salisbury Star. And they're like, oh yeah, we saw your story. It was great, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, and I wrote this book. And, I love having the book. I was telling someone else, one of the good things about having published a book is you do have that, like, hair's breadth of credibility, like a little gravitas there, that goes on. Oh, you wrote a book? Yes, I did. And what did she do? She made an appointment for me to come and write about you. So that's an ongoing thing. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Yeah. I don't care, but I think it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. But I do feature the JCs a lot in Salisbury, the Salisbury Junior Chamber of Commerce people, and they love me, and I say nice things about them, and I take pictures, but they don't ever treat me like I'm stupid. And just, that's all I ask. Don't put me in a position where I have to say either I'm stupid enough to believe you or you're stupid, because guess what? I'm never going to say that I'm stupid enough to believe you. Yeah, yeah. So.
Well, I think you've spent all your life developing that skill of being comfortable with people being angry.
It's easy I tend to make people uncomfortable, and eventually you just have to realize that, well, I guess I'm going to have to get used to people wishing that I would shut the hell up and go the hell away.
That's great.
That's my T-shirt. And now on a happier note, on a sadder note, but then a happier note, you had you were involved with GoFundMe this.
It's worth mentioning. Some very good friends of ours, Jamie Clark, and who works for Reliable Churchill. So we've done lots of the Jack Daniels stuff, the Bacardi stuff. She's always been there helping us out with our buddy Staten. Her house caught on fire on Friday night at like 1:30 in the morning. A faulty plug or something like that. She had a friend over. She has a 2-year-old son. Thank you to the Salisbury.
Everybody get out alive.
What's that?
Everybody got out alive.
Everybody got out alive. She's been recovering. Yes, thank you, Danny. It's like I'm burying the lead. Everybody got out alive. In fact, actually, the house is still structurally sound, but they've lost pretty much everything because of the smoke and fire damage.
Right.
But so we get a call on Friday morning or Saturday morning, the following morning. And it's one of those things where it's like, hey, we don't know what to do. Can we set up a GoFundMe? And or can we set up an online donation thing? And of course, us being the technocrats that we are, just first thing I do is try to find out what the best thing to do is. We set up a GoFundMe, just for an initial. We set it up for $10,000. Obviously they're going to need lots of stuff, but that was just a starter. And we hadn't even talked to them. They're still kind of running around. At this point, Jamie was still in the hospital, stable. Their son had been checked out and released. Their dog was found unconscious, and the fire department revived it using a special dog mask, which I think is
cool,
which is pretty awesome. I think that's good tax dollars at work. But yeah, so like in 8 hours, less than a work day, we raised $10,000 through GoFundMe.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And we upped the goal just to cover, realizing actually that GoFundMe is still a for-profit website. They take a percentage,
right?
It was which I kind of have mixed feelings about. It's like you're in the situation where you need to set something up right away, and they're like, all right, well, yeah, you can do that. We have all of this, and I don't know if 10% is high, or if that's acceptable, or
As long as until they have their first security breach, that's what you're paying for. You're paying so people are comfortable putting their credit cards.
Yeah.
On, this isn't a church fundraiser where everybody's like, oh, I'll just hand my credit card number to the old church lady who's just going to type it in and give it back. These are strangers over great distances. And if someone could do it cheaper and as well, they probably would have by now.
Yeah.
Because there's Indiegogo. I don't know what they take, but I guess everybody takes a percentage, right?
Yeah, and that is, yeah, everybody takes a percentage. And the GoFundMe, there's no limit. There's no limit on the goal. There's no kickback if you don't make it, or you don't get it if you don't hit your goal. So I think this has been more of a charitable type thing. But it was an interesting experience to sort of be able to put that out there. Then we put it together, and not really looking for any sort of attention, but when you say the Clark Family Recovery Fund, and it says created by Natalie DeHart, it's like, well, can we get rid of that? That we don't need that. Mm-hmm. But there's not really an option to. And then we start getting the calls from dregs of society like you, newspaper writers, and
right.
who are looking to do a story and that sort of thing. The good news is, in all of this, is that everybody made it out. The incredible outpouring of and generosity from the immediate community, and it will be continuing to trickle in for months to come. So that's a cool thing to be a part of, out of a just a unimaginable and scary situation.
Yeah, and it's also important though to make mention when you say that that having Natalie's name up there, at least one of the upsides is it's not the person who's being benefited running the benefit. People like to see that kind of thing. They like to know that someone else said, I want to do this for these people, as opposed to the people saying, we want to do this for ourselves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the sister of the shooter in South Carolina, who did a GoFundMe for her ruined honeymoon or something absurd like that.
Well, that's horrible. I didn't know any of that, and well, I guess now I do.
Sorry to leave that terrible taste in your mouth.
And on that note, actually, we are bumping up against the half hour, and I am as long as I can get to work on time. Because I was just going to be late, but if I can get to work on time, that would make me happy, especially this week. All sorts of fun stuff coming up in the coming weeks. If you are a homebrew type, I just want to plug this real quick. At Extreme Brewing, I believe this Saturday they're doing an all-day brew, which is it's 6 hours, and they start from the very beginning and go to the very end, and you spend the day drinking beer, talking about how to make beer, and eating little pretzels and drinking beer.
That sounds good.
It's a really, really great day. It's Extreme Brewing in Laurel. If you're interested, if you even think you might be interested in home brewing, probably should go out and take a look at it, because it's a lot of fun. They do it every 6 months. They do one in the summer and then one in like the spring. So that's not every 6 months, but you know what I mean. They do it every 9 months and then every 3 months. It averages out.
It averages out.
Yes. And as for me, I will be out and about third Friday. If you want to get a picture in the paper, come find me. Third Friday in Salisbury is this week. And that's one of the things that I don't miss about Berlin, and I don't really miss it about Salisbury. Having that, like, because there's Second Friday in Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Second Friday. I like Third Friday. I don't like that my life is defined by them. It's like, it's Third Friday. I know what I'm doing. It's Second Friday. Because then, then there are only 12 days in your year as opposed to 52. Which is in the weekly newspaper business, you have 52 days. But when you think of it in terms of monthly things that you cover, then you only have 12. And 12 days isn't a lot. It makes you get old very fast. Yeah. But it's a lot of fun. This is Water World, so I'm sure there'll be opportunities to be squirted and to, I don't know. I won't be doing any of the squirting or squirty, but
well, with you doing that, the Friday evening here in Berlin, we're hosting the bathtub races again. So yeah, maybe being defined by what's happening in town, but this is a good one.
Bathtub races are always a blast.
Yeah. So I'll be out there emceeing, or as I like to say, yelling at kids on the microphone. And I think this year, hopefully, we won't have any crashes or near fatalities, and maybe we'll even host a best in show just to keep things rolling along.
I also wanted to mention I ran into Michael Day.
Yeah.
Who is now the economic development director for Snow Hill. I asked him if he had a problem. He's just addicted to that. And so Snow Hill is looking for a brewery. If anyone is looking to open a brewery or a brew pub, Snow Hill owns the building, and I think that they're willing to deal if someone will bring them some recognition beyond being Snow Hill.
Yep.
And that's all I got to this week. How about you?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, may Todd give you the sense to live in a small town.
We'll see you next week at happy hour or coffee hour.